Today I have the beautiful Ryah Eastman on the Awaken Feminine podcast, and she is also from Perth, so we're in the same time zone. Welcome to the show, Ryah.
Thank you so much, 𝐑𝐲𝐚𝐡. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on. I'm super excited about today.
I'm so excited because I know we're going to have a great conversation. But before we get started, I always love to ask my guests this question, and that is, what is your definition of an awakened feminine?
Yeah, I had a little think about this beforehand. And it came to me quite strong, actually. So I feel the awakened feminine is threefold. So it's that woman who has awakened to her surroundings and is actually seeing reality for what it is. There's no rose-colored glasses. She's actually seeing the good, the bad, the ugly for exactly what it is. And then there's that awakening from within. So she's noticing and aware and really embracing who she is and really owning her brilliance and her strengths, and also acknowledging those parts of her that are stretches or challenges that she might face, but really owning that and seeing the beauty in that and loving all of that. And then combining the two. So it's that awareness of seeing the outside world, seeing your inner brilliance and how you want to show up in the world and what people you want in your world, who you want to be around, what energies you want to attract. And it's that beautiful interaction of the two and being really aware and seeing it for what it is and what you can create in this life journey.
I love your definition. It's so beautiful. I'm getting like tingles as I was listening to you. That is such a beautiful
Oh,
definition.
thank
Thank
you.
you for sharing that. Yeah, thank you. So, Raya, let's get started. I'd love for you to share with us just a quick introduction of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a transformational style coach or an image coach. And so as a stylist, I work with women to really empower them to own and express their brilliance so that they can radiate their beauty, their inner uniqueness on the outside, and to do this with absolute confidence and with joy and with that self-belief and of course with flair as well. So yeah,
I
I
love
love
it.
what I do. I love what I do. And I often, when I get talking, I'll start explaining it even better. But it's such a privilege to be able to work with women to unleash this awesomeness within and to be able to help them to radiate that on the outside for people to see, for them to be seen and seen for all their beauty and who they are.
Oh, that just makes my heart sing. Yeah, being seen. Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that's a core wound for most women to, be able to be seen. So, yeah, I love what you
Yeah,
do. And
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love
When
your
I meet
outfit.
women, thank you.
I'm looking at it.
A
I
lot of
mean,
the way I work is, well, to start with this, I really work with people to really tune in to how they want to feel. Today, I was feeling, I want to feel a little glam, like a bit of glam flair. So that was what kind of brought me into this outfit today. But getting back to what you said about being seen, like it breaks my heart when when you meet someone and when you get talking to them. Well, so everyone has their beautiful uniqueness and their inner brilliance. And when you get talking to them, you can see that. I see that. That's what I feel is part of my superpower is I can see this brilliance within this woman, but on the outside, you don't see it. You don't see it, you don't feel it because they're hiding behind their image, their clothing, whether it be stories that they tell themselves, whether it be they just don't know how, or they don't understand the power that having and owning your brilliance and being able to wear it on the outside can have, and the tools and the skills to be able to do it as well. So
mm,
it's such a passion of mine for people, for women to be seen and heard, and image and wardrobe is honestly, it is the most untapped tool that we have at our fingers, I believe, that can really transform your life.
yeah. I think one of the reasons we get on so well is like we want to help women be seen and be heard. And for me, like my, I think we'll get into this a bit more, but I was taught that, you know, how you present yourself to the world is really important. But a lot of times people like, you know, you don't need to like make yourself or whatever, but it does. Like when you dress well, you feel so much more confidence than when you like, you know, turn up in, you know, your bummy clothes, right?
Yeah. And that's something I like to gently explore with people, because there's sometimes reasons behind that, and it's sometimes uncovering that and what's behind that. But I have this saying that I work with my clients with, and it's when you look the part, you feel the part, then you act the part, and the world responds in kind. Like if you, an example is, you know, let's say you're walking into a really important meeting, let's say it's a boardroom. If you look the part of that confident, strong woman, let's say that's how you want to feel and what you want to radiate. If you look like that and you look in the mirror, you think you've got this, you feel it. And you walk in there with your shoulders back and you act like that woman that you are radiating. And then you get that response from the energy that you're giving out there. So it is so, so powerful. But to take it back, the way I work with women a lot, and that's quite different than the way I work as a stylist, is I want to go right back to, how do you want to feel? What does that look like? Who are you? What's your inner essence? And that way I believe people own their brilliance better and they feel more confident dressing and they feel more authentic. That's the basic message, really.
Yeah.
To be authentic.
Yeah.
And another thing I say to my clients is like, this is me. This is my essence. This is my upbringing. This is my story. And I don't want you to dress this way. This is my story. I want you to dress in your way, in your story, and find out who you are and how best to radiate that on the outside.
I love that, because I think, you know, fashion is great. I love, you know, fashion, but you know, you see people put things on that completely just doesn't work for them. You're like going, what's happening? And that's where it's so important. And you know, the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Unfortunately, people do. Like if you walked into a boardroom, unless, you know, you're this like really well-known multi-billionaire mogul, if you walked into a boardroom wearing track pants, people will be like, what the hell's going on? You know?
Absolutely. And it comes down to the actual brain wiring, the way that we were wired from, you know, way, way, way back. We are wired with a quick, instant, within nanoseconds judgment of, or I guess judgment is the word you could use, or that evaluation of, okay, is this person a friend or foe? Do I need to run? Do I need to get prepared? So there is a massive amount of information, visual information that we gather, that our brains gather in that instant. And it's almost 60% is from the way that you look and the way you present yourself. And then once you start speaking, there's a small percentage of your tone, the way you deliver. And then what you actually say is like less than 10%. Yeah. So our wiring is pre-programmed to make that judgment, and it's out of our control. The other really interesting thing is that first impressions are, because I love the science all behind this. You probably would read, because my background is in physio, I love looking at the science behind things and the research behind it. So they say that with first impressions, once you've made a first impression, it takes like almost 20 interactions to undo that first impression. Wow. So if you meet someone and, you know, you've got wet hair, or you're going to a boardroom, you're disheveled, you've been on the bus, your hair's not dry and you're all creased, those people will take that image and that first impression and it's really hard to get rid of. And you almost need to kind of prove yourself. Yeah. The interesting thing is that it actually works the other way as well. If you present yourself in a really elevated way and you make a really great impression, if the next time that person sees you and you're not at that, or sort of presenting at your best, they kind of give you this kind of benefit of the doubt, or this like, oh, well, that's just her today, but I know her. So it's so interesting. So interesting.
It is so interesting how we're wired, and the judgment and the impressions that we get, and the undoing. And the thing is, like, I said track pants, there's nothing wrong with track pants, but if you can own that set of track pants and look that confident, give that first impression, then if that's you, then go for it, right? But it's
sorry.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt you there? Because there's this theory called the red sneaker effect. Have you heard of that?
No.
Basically, I hope I don't muck this up, but the red sneaker effect is that that concept that if you have this presence and this confidence and this persona about you, and you walk into a room, like let's say you're the CEO of a company, and you walk into a room, you're wearing red sneakers with your, chinos and just a plain t-shirt, you still embody and own, and you are perceived as this person of real presence. Because if you're that cool that you can totally rock that outfit, you must be important. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But with that, the research did, so you do need to have some form of cred to be able to do that. You don't just the new kid.
You can't just rock up can't just rock up to a meeting with the outfit if you're like don't have any credential.
There is, and that's another massive component. Is it's the attitude that comes with it.
That is true.
Confidence and that self-belief.
Absolutely. I guess, like, if you think about just celebrities, they can rock in anything and people are still like, oh my gosh, that's so and so and so and so, right? But if someone was to wear what they wore and don't have that flair, don't have that confidence, then it's not the same. So I want to dive deep more, but I really want to find out more about how you went from physio. So Ryah and I connected, and I was like, oh, you're a physio. I used to be a pharmacist. So that was really cool. The healthcare professionals changing professions. So how did you, what made you decide to leave physio and step into this realm of, being a styling coach? Because they're completely different things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, this could be a long story, so I'll make it as short as I can. Beginning with, I think I was born into this profession. So my mum is a most beautiful, creative, eclectic, eccentric, flamboyant person. And she taught me from a very early age to be really self-expressive with how you dress and to absolutely own it, to use it as a tool to manifest a mood, how you want to feel that day, what you want to say with what you wear, and to actually not care what people think. If you love it and you think you look great, just rock it. So I was very lucky to be brought up that way, and it was something that I didn't realize was a gift that was given to me from an early age, and all these skills that I just took for granted. But I went through school, and as you do, you go through schooling and you look for the sensible kind of pathway. And I was really good at science and maths, and I was really passionate about helping people. So I went, and particularly passionate about helping women and helping them to reach their best potential and to feel amazing. I was also interested in health and wellness. So I went the science route and did physio, but I had this flip-flop between physio creative, health science. And so I went from physio, and then I did this complete 180 and did interior decorating. Has worked in interior decorating for a while, and then I went back to physio, and then I flip-flopped between different careers. And then it was in my 40s when I had gone through a life phase, and I'd come out the other side and survived. And I thought, what do I really want to do? And I had been styling and doing fashion and worked with charities on the side for years. I'd styled photo shoots for photographers. It was something I did as a hobby. And then I thought, well, do I, retrain as a physio, because I'd had children in that time as well, or do I turn this into a full-time career? And it just made sense. It was something that I'd always been doing, and so I just fell into it, I guess. And well, I guess no, I embraced it and fully believed in myself, because what I was doing before, it felt like it was on the side. It was a hobby. Oh, that's just what I do for fun. And then I thought, I'm actually making a huge difference in people's lives once I started to do the process that I've developed over the last 10 years. It's so transformational. And to see these people's lives change, it's like a catalyst to this snowball that just builds and builds and builds, which is such an honor to be part of that. So, women tell me that I got the job and now I'm doing this, or, oh, work's sending me over here, or, oh, I went on this amazing date, and their lives just change and unfold. And I just love it. It's just so exciting, because sometimes that's all you need, is that little thing to unlock your potential and your presence and your image, and what you wear and how you feel is so often that key that unlocks it. Yeah. We've got to get dressed every day, right?
Yeah.
We've got clothes on. And if you can treat it less as a functional thing, like, I've got to get dressed for function, get dressed with intention and with feeling, and with an idea of radiating your brilliance and who you are.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, wow. That's such an awesome story. I want to ask you, because this popped up, how did you have that as a hobby on the side, as you how did that start?
Oh my goodness. Where do I start with that? I remember in high school, we had to do a magazine, and everyone did like National Geographic and all these different ones. And I did this fashion magazine called Chicks Magazine. And it was actually Chics Magazine, got CHICS. And so I did this magazine, this editorial, and I had all these articles, and that's one of my young memories. But I've always styled events. I've always done TAFE courses for my creativity. So I've done fashion illustration, I've done jewelry making, I've done pattern making, sewing, which I'm not very good at, I must say. Rip and reconstruct was a course I did, which was so much better. So that was bringing in clothing and completely ripping them up and then re-putting them back together again. So I completed that one. It was the when you had to make a plain black pair of pants with a sewing machine. So I'd always done that. And then for charities, I did quite a bit of charity work for some beautiful charities, and they were often fashion events. So I helped work with the designers and help style the models in the Fashion Parade production. And I don't know, I just came naturally, I think, and I was very organised, and I emceed a lot of fashion shows, and that it was amazing. I just felt that was the best way to give my time and my gift to help charities raise more money. And so it was always in the area of style and fashion. So yeah, so that's how I sort of did it on the side. And I also did events as well. So I did lots of styling in flowers for events, and so
that's
I guess
so cool. Yeah.
Always been present, always been there.
Have you, no, this just popped into my head. Have you, do you style people's houses to fit there?
I used to. Yeah. And look, that was back when I was in interior design. It was back in probably early 2000s. And I think I found it less rewarding because it felt very materialistic at the time. I think they do it a lot better now, in that, they really are more aware of tuning into the family and what their needs are and what their lifestyle is and, their history and what they want to radiate. Whereas back then it felt more, I just remember a lot of clients were like, oh, you do it, you do this room, you sort it out, it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
But I want to bring
Yeah.
heart into this. I want to bring your family and your loves and your passions. And some people just wanted the stuff.
Yeah.
And it's completely changed now, I think. And yeah, so
Yeah.
a lot more rewarding.
The changes of consciousness, like, being consciously aware, because I know this just kind of, that'd be so cool if like you help people find themselves and then like, help them with the wardrobe, but then also like look at their houses and help them like style their houses to like, fit everything, because it's not just is about you, but also the environment as well. But anyway, that's just popped in.
But I'm saying that though, it's a really interesting point because I've been to people's houses and their house is colourful and eclectic and they've got all these quirky things. And then their wardrobe is plain and black and grey. And you sort of start asking the questions and their house is how they want to look and feel, but they just don't know how to do it. So it's like, this is lighting you up, right? This painting, when you talked about this painting, your eyes just lit up. Let's bring that into your wardrobe so you wear that and you light up when you look in the mirror. So it's so interesting, our environment and how that can interplay and the feelings. But yeah, that consciousness I think is super powerful if we tune.
Yeah, it is. Just being in tune with how you are, who you are, and having your environment reflect that back as well. That's so important because like you say, they're like totally eclectic on the outside, like in the environment, and then they're like, what's happening? So what do you find like when you do work with your clients? Obviously they need help with their clothing. Do you find that you need to throw a lot of stuff out, or like how what happens when you start working?
And look, I feel very honored, and it is a really, I totally respect that. It's such a vulnerable thing to invite someone into your home, into your wardrobe, into your personal space. And so it's, reassuring people that going into that space, I really appreciate that. And there is no judgment, and I'm there to make this transformation for you. And I must say, when I say transformation, it's not this completely new you. I say it's the new true you. It's you to the core. It's new, but it's who you're meant to be. But going back to arriving at the wardrobe, so there are items there that are obviously to go. So there's things that are torn or old, or shouts 1995 and it's all peeled. So it's really, and I often get clients to do that first if they have items in there that they know that they just will not wear again, to get rid of those. But I'm a bit of a magician, so I find magic in people's wardrobe all the time, and so many people are blown away with how much they've kept and love what they've kept. So it's a bit of a process of looking at what needs to completely go, like what's not revivable, then looking at, what can be moved on with love, what is no longer serving you. And that sometimes can come down to our body shapes have changed, and to love and own the body that you're in now. And that item is ready for someone else. So moving that on with love, and then looking at items that can be tailored. So sometimes, people will put a skirt on and say, I just don't know what it is about this skirt. I love the color, I love the print, but there's just something about it. Whenever I put it on, I feel frumpy, or I feel it's just not right. And sometimes it might be the length. And so I'll get my pins out and go, hey, but what about if we did this? And I mean, a great tip with a lot of things is to like off center it, make it on a bit of an angle, or lift it to a point where your body shape is at its thinnest rather than wider. So things like straight across the hip, if we bring that up a bit, or it depends on the item, but tweaking it. And then they'll look in the mirror and go, oh my gosh, yes, that's what was missing. So sometimes items need to be tweaked. And the other thing which I find is a lot of people have formulas for their clothes, and they'll be like, I wear this with this and this.
Yep.
Okay. And then, I only wear that with that. And so they've got a lot of clothes, but they have this formula of how they wear them. So I love going in there and saying, okay, so see this, what if we put that with that? And then we wore that over the top. And they're like, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So they'll put it all together and they'll be like, oh, wow, I never thought of doing this. And then I'll be, of course, adding the flair at the end. And what about if we then, so flair is that element that takes a look to the next level. So it can even be tweaking the outfit. Like, what if we rolled the sleeves up and pulled the shirt underneath so we had a pop of color there? Or it might be, how about we put on this necklace with that so that we're creating this beautiful long line? Or how about we put these earrings? Or so adding that flair on the end. And then you can interchange that too. So same outfit, but different flair. And so their options expand and expand and expand. And I take a lot of photos for people too, because they're like, I'm never going to remember this. So we take lots of photos of all the different examples. So it's amazing how much is in people's wardrobes that they're really not utilizing. And I always do their style ID first, so we have a direction, we know where they're heading and who, how they want to feel and what their style is first. And it helps make the decision making really easy, isn't it? Really good point. So yeah. And then we'll make a list of, what items are missing. There's often key items that if we bought this, that would then you'd be able to wear all these pieces together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So so I'm assuming you do all the like who you are, all the things before you even go in the wardrobe, or do that kind of?
No. And look, my process is quite different in that is a huge part of how I work, and is establishing someone's, I call it a style ID first. And I'll spend, I send out questionnaires, I have an interview, then we'll spend an hour on Zoom at least. I need to know before I dress anyone who they are, how they want to feel, what they're all about. It's not just personality and lifestyle. It's deeper than that. It's their values. It's their ambitions. It's their dreams. It's everything. And I have these 4 fundamentals that I go through first. And it's looking at all that and then pulling that together for them in a really crystal clear style ID. That every time we do this, I love that my clients are always like, yes, I want to be her. That is me. I want to become that. That is it. So it's so nice to have that direction and that clarity. And then you can start styling towards that and taking into account, your body shape and your coloring as well, what suits you and what helps you look your best, but then bringing in that authenticity of who you are and also where you want to go, who you want to be. That's the other part that I love is, nudging people forward to dressing for the life they desire, dressing for who they want to be, who their self looks like, not just who they are now. Because if we dress in a way that reflects our true self and our potential, we become that person.
I love that.
It's pretty powerful. It's pretty cool.
It makes so much sense. Yeah. Because if we're looking the part, then we rewire our brain to go, oh, that is me. Yeah, even though you might not be there yet.
Yeah. And it's also nudging it to a point where you feel comfortable. might want to be here, but let's take you here first, and then you'll feel confident, get the compliments, and then you might go there. Where some people are ready to jump, but it just depends where you're at. And I love to get a sense of where my clients are at, and how that journey, the pace, and how that will unfold. Yeah.
I love that. A couple of questions popped up. So the first one is, you know how some people like, I'm a bohemian chick, or I'm a rock chick, or I'm a, goth, or, I'm very, retro or feminine. Do you take just trying to think, like for someone like me, okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. Yeah. I can do all those things. So then how would that work? Like, because if someone, maybe not me, use me as an example, but if someone's always been like, I'm just this floral chick, I just wear florals, right?
Yeah.
And then you do the style ID and they're like,
Yeah. That's the thing with style ID. It's none of those. It's not rock chick. It's actually, okay, you're a floral feminine, but why? What's it about that? What is the feeling behind that?
Yeah.
What is it that you're wanting to say behind that? So I never use, you've got your classics, haven't you? Classic or sporty chic, and also it changes on the day. Yeah. Sometimes you do want to be the rock chick, and sometimes the next day, actually, no, I want to be with, feminine and pretty. So yeah, so your style ID is captivating who you are and who you wish to be and those feelings. And it's different for everyone. So I very much personalize it. Sometimes it's a selection of words, sometimes images, phrases. It captivates that. So you can on any given day dress to your mood, dressing to your inner self and your unique essence is slightly different. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, it does. Yeah. I love that because you're also not putting yourself in a box in that way as well. Yeah.
And it may mean that your wardrobe does have a lot of feminine floral long dresses, but it's all about the feeling, why, and the intention behind it.
And then you can also then, bring in different pieces in to make it more like a rock chic feminine, or because you're not putting yourself in that's just me and that's how I am. It's like, I'm all encompassing and I can bring these different flavors into my feminine wardrobe. Is that pretty much it?
Absolutely. And it's even digging more into like, well, what is it about the feminine? Is it sensuality? Is it that you want to feel pretty? Is it that you want to feel motherly? Is it, what is it about femininity? What's the feeling that you're wanting to create there? And that can even give you more clarity.
I love that. As you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot the question that I was going to ask you. And then I remembered it. Having a little panic, because I do that when I listen to people talk, because I'm so listening so much. So the question, while I still remember it in my head, is, this is probably more just for me, but I'm sure other people have it, but feeling disconnected from your wardrobe, right? So there's people I think there's people that, like you say, they don't feel that disconnection. Maybe they know that, they need to update their wardrobe, blah, 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 blah. But for me, because I've changed so much in the last few years, my wardrobe literally has no clothes left, hardly, because I keep throwing things away because it doesn't quite fit. And then now I'm so lost. Do you have those I don't even know what the question is, but do you have people like that where they feel disconnected from the wardrobe and they need to change it? Do they need to change? This is the question. Sorry. I'm trying to articulate it. Do you have people that would then change, their style ID will change as they become newer versions of them, the more as they dig into more authentic versions of There you go.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Got it
yeah.
out.
So essentially there's components of your style ID that will stay the same because it's your unique essence and who you are and your brilliance, and you own that. And that it's a bit like your values. Your values are often the same. They might change slightly. So it's making tweaks to that. And absolutely, when you feel like a refresh, it's relooking at, okay, so what is important here and who are you, what's changed, but what are you wanting to bring more of into your life? What are you wanting to attract? What are you wanting to create? What does that look like? What do you look like in that scenario? So it's making those little tweaks to create that new little direction and that refresh. So, but there's a lot of components of a style ID that because it is your uniqueness. And I think I heard this really good quote, and I'm not really sure who said it, but it said something like, until you understand yourself, it's hard to reach your full potential. So when I work with clients, it starts at that basic level of understanding yourself and understanding what makes you unique and what your brilliance is and owning that. And yeah, that awareness is so key. And that's why I spend so much time doing it. And that's why I do the process that I do when working with people.
Yeah.
Because that's where you get the transformation and the authenticity.
Do you find there's a lot of resistance or people like women going, I don't know, but I don't know. Like, do you find that there is a lot of that, or people just kind of like jump in and they know who they are and all the things?
It usually starts with confusion.
Yeah.
Usually it is my old style. I know what I've got doesn't work for me, but I don't know what does. I don't know what my style is. I don't know what suits me. I know that that's what I'm doing now is no longer me, but I don't know who I am. I don't know how to create it. I've been, doing mum things. I've been wearing track pants. I've left a job. I don't know, I have to be corporate anymore, but I don't know what it looks like. That is so, so common, which is why it's so important to do the initial work of the style ID to really clarify of, well, who are you? And a lot of people have lost who they are as well. So many women I see have been giving and giving and giving to so many people. They've reached this point of, oh my gosh, well, who am I? Who am I? And they've kind of forgotten. So I feel very privileged to be part of that process to uncover that and remind them of who they are. And we even go back into, what things used to light you up when you were a kid. Those things, there's so many clues in there. And that's where a lot of that stays the same. There's so much that's consistent in our life. Even if you are reinventing yourself, there's still that core of you, which I love. Childhood gives you so many clues.
Yeah.
That's like, or things you used to do and, and love. And why was that? What brings you joy?
Yeah. What brought you joy before you had to be a mature adult and not do the fun things anymore? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's translating that into a feel and a look is it's something I think that comes naturally to me in a way. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's just different for everyone. It really is different for everyone. I mean, an example that comes to my head is someone who she absolutely loves animals. She just loves animals and cats and all these creatures. And we actually got her a whole lot of accessories and brooches with animals and particularly cats. And she just loved them. So where she used to wear she's got quite a plain basic wardrobe for work, she throws on she's given them all names and everything.
That's awesome.
She kind of wears that energy. And it's not to say that that's for everyone at all, but for her, that really worked. Yeah, there's so many different ways of bringing things in. Yeah.
I love it. Do you go shopping with your clients?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do. So sometimes it most often is on the back of doing a wardrobe. So there's items in there that are missing and items that are their new higher self that need to be put in there. So yeah, we'll write a bit of a list out first. I'll go and do all the hard work first and do all the groundwork and pre-pull everything and have it already in the wardrobes in the change rooms for people. Because so many people, shopping is so overwhelming. There is so much choice now. It's so confusing. And it's always changing as well. And to know what suits your body shape can be really tricky because sizes are so, they're just so inconsistent and different styles. So I've done all that pre-work first for them. So it's a really effortless, fun exercise where it's all been narrowed down. And it helps me, obviously, knowing people's style ID as well. It just helps decision making, really. Yeah, to be able to go, is this right? No, that was what I used to buy, or that's what you used to wear. This is where you're headed. This is the look, the piece that you're after. So making that really easy and save so much time and money. It's and pain and brain power. It's definitely a real pleasure to be able to make that experience fun for people.
Yeah.
I've had lots of clients say that they'll go shopping and then they'll just come home and cry, saying, I bought nothing and nothing fits. It felt terrible. I was completely overwhelmed. I hate it. And then, just feel so deflated, and it has a real effect on your confidence and your belief in yourself. And so to be able to take that away and make it a really fun process is a real pleasure.
Yeah, that's really cool. I used to love shopping, but now it's just like gives me a headache because there's so much and I'm like, oh, that looks really good, but I don't know. Yeah, so having someone do the work beforehand sounds just like a dream.
Yeah, and because I'm there so often, I know where to go and what to look past, and even the way shops are set up, they're set up in a way, it's all set up in a way for you to purchase. So they'll have all the new pieces at the front, they'll have the sales at the back, they'll have, and when you get to know the different stores too and how they work, where their key pieces are and what their regular styles that work really well are, again, all that knowledge is something that kind of comes with the job. So that comes with a lot of time and effort as well. Yeah.
Do you are there favorite shops of yours, or do you cater for more like your clients' budgets? How would all that part work?
Yeah, it's very much dependent on the client. So their budget, obviously, their style idea and lifestyle and what their needs are, their body shape, sometimes people are after more corporate wardrobe if that's what they're needing. It really depends. But I'll certainly work with what the client feels comfortable with in regards to budget or regards to, investing more money in various items. So we'll talk about that first. And that's another thing that I do a bit differently too, is that I don't want people to feel pressured in the moment. So I'll take clients through, we'll try things on. I do a lot of education during the shopping as well, and opening them up too, because all the pieces are there, like opening them up to something they would never try. And so just curious, I want you to try this. And they'll be like, oh, no way. And then they'll put it on and people will be like, gosh, oh my goodness, I totally did not think this would work. I remember one client, I wanted her to wear a white blazer, and she was like, no, I knew you were going to make me wear a white blazer. No, I'm not going to. It's too much. Anyway, she put it on and she sort of walked around. She's like, oh my gosh, I actually really like this. Oh my goodness. So anything from a classic like that onwards. But where was I going with that? Oh, that's right. At the end of our shopping trip, so I'll write everything down and we'll take photos, but I'll always work with the client how they feel comfortable. So sometimes we'll just sit down and take a break and actually have a think and work out, okay, so what were the best pieces? What are the pieces you can't live without? What were amazing? How can we maximize your budget? You know, work out a bit of a plan so you're not caught up in that whole buying. And there's no affiliation with anyone either, so there's no pressure to have to buy in this store or I want people to feel really comfortable and to also acknowledge why they are buying those pieces. What's the intention behind that? And to have a bit of a grounding moment before. And then also it maximizes their time and use of me as well, because then you can go off and buy the pieces. They can go off afterwards or order it, or sometimes it's a matter of, you know, this is a great piece, but it was not in budget. Let's keep an eye out for if it goes on sale.
Yeah.
So
nice.
It works for them.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the time and I'm like, oh, I want to keep this conversation going, but I'm gonna have to wrap it up. So, Ryah, I've got a couple more questions for you. The first one is, what would you like our audience to take away with them after listening to us today?
I think after today, it is to think about how you dress each day and to bring feeling and intention into it. So really think about, how do I want to feel today? What do I wish to radiate? What do I want to say? And put on your clothes and feel that. Find pieces, even if it's jewelry, like find pieces that evoke a feeling within you and then carry that out with you through the day. And it can start as simple as putting on a piece of jewelry rather than throwing it on. Think, okay, so when did I acquire this? Like, what's the story behind this? And if it was a wedding present, if it was an anniversary gift, tune into that feeling of when that person gave it to you, who that person is, and what does that embody, that item, particularly with jewelry, I find, in Flair pieces. Less so if it's a shirt that you bought at the store, but even the color, like, what is it about this? And then take that out with you into the day. It's like wearing a Wonder Woman outfit, like you're wearing the power. So take that out with you in the day and wear it with intention and share it with the world. Yeah. And on the back of that, if I can add, I would love to encourage people to compliment others, to give more compliments. So when you do see someone who looks great or there's just some radiance about that. It might not be what they're wearing. It's the way that they did something. It's anything that you feel is worth complimenting. Compliment the person and say why. Even, I love that scarf you've got on today. It makes your eyes look so bright. Or, I love the way you've put that together. Or that was a really nice thing you did just then by letting that person in. And show people that, give people compliments and give the reason why, and then engage with that too is the second part on the back of that. Is with my coaching, I often have to coach people how to receive compliments because it's such a beautiful way of connecting with people. So if someone says to you, "Oh, I love your jacket," then very graciously say thank you, but also use it as an opportunity to connect. Thank you. I love this color, or I bought this a couple of years ago, and whenever I wear it, I feel so amazing. And then you can have this conversation and connection, because it's another thing I guess I've learned through my family and my mom is you can connect with people with clothing and fashion. There's so many stories to tell behind things that we wear, and we can say, with what we wear. And I feel that connecting with people as much as we can in this world we live in today is a really important thing.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. It's so beautiful. And I totally agree. Like, it's so nice when someone just randomly walks up to you and tells you that you look great. And you're like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before. And you're like, you just don't expect it. And it really makes your day. So go out and make someone's day. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I love. Like when clients say, oh my gosh, I got like 4 compliments today. It's
Yeah.
so good. So yeah, share the love. Share the
Yes.
love.
Share the love. I love it. And Ryah, one last question for you, and that's what's setting your soul on fire at the moment?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say, with work at the moment, I'm doing my new website, and it's actually really exciting because it's been really amazing to see all this that I work for. I'm putting it all together and refreshing my website, and it's made me feel really proud of something that I've created. So I haven't learned this stuff in a book, or I have done styling courses, but that's more for body shape and coloring and so on. But I've created this, and it's like almost like my baby that I've like, wow, I've actually developed this, and it's so exciting. So I guess I'd have to say that really kind of giving myself credit and really being proud of what I've created in over time, and I'm about to launch it in a way that I feel really proud of. So that's what's lighting me up at the moment.
Oh, I can't wait to see your new website. It's going to be so exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Ryah, for this wonderful conversation today. If people want to find out more about you or how they can work with you, where's the best place to go?
Look, probably my new website, which will be launched by the time this goes to air. So that is flairbyrya.com. I'm also on Instagram and on LinkedIn and Facebook, and the handle generally is Flair by Ryah. So that's FLAIRBYRYAH. They're the best places to find me.
Awesome. I'll have all your details in the show notes so people can reach out to you. Thank you so much again for this wonderful time together.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing.